Hello everyone and welcome, and the camera's frozen. Hang on, give me a second. I want to restart the camera. Let's try this again. It's been an evening of just technical issues all over the place. So, yep, apologies for any the lateness. Just for some reason the computer just really wanted to be slow all evening. I have no idea why. It's just gone completely slow. So hopefully the stream will carry on okay. But if it does drop out suddenly or something crashes completely, heads up, that could be a thing. But anyway, hello and welcome to Question Time. If this is your first time here, this is an opportunity live where you can ask any question you like about game dev, UE4, or whatever you want really. You have my attention for an hour where I can answer as many questions as I can from chat. So all you have to do is put your question into chat and I'll grab a few as I go through this evening and answer as many as I can. If I don't see your question or don't answer your question, just put it into chat again and I'll try and catch it next time round. We do this every Wednesday, well, barring a few missed sessions here and there, but every Wednesday, so you can always come back next week or the week after and so forth to jump in and ask your questions away. Now, this will be the last question time I do whilst I'm working at a college. So this is after this one, I'll be full time into this role, and I'm going to do that. Thank you to all the patrons and YouTube members who are supporting me financially, allowing me to do this full time. So I want to say a big thank you to all of you for your amazing generosity and support, and it allows me to do a lot more cool things going forward with the channel, and I can't wait to get started and show you those things when I actually have time to actually do them, which would be really good. Speaking of which, if you want to have a one-to-one session, which is on this advert like here, you can go to my website, ryanlady.com/sessions, and you can see my availability as well as all the costs and all the details and so forth. But if you want to see my availability, you'll see that July is fully booked, but there are still some slots in August. So if you want an August slot, head over to my website, ryanlady.com, and you can find all the information, all the details over there. So let's just jump into Unreal. Let's jump in there and have a look. Okay. So, we're looking at, hello everyone in chat. We've got, who have we got here? We've got Jellerman Plays. We've got Fish Tank. Hello Sven. Funny Let's Play. Angus. Hello. Fractured Visions. Hello. How are you all? How you doing? It's good to see you tonight. Okay. So let's have a look what we've got going on here. Let's find a good question. So, Fractured Vision, how would you handle a full stun recover, say during hand-to-hand combat? If it's going to be static, like what we call static, so the length of time for the animation to play is going to be the same every single time. You fall down, stunned, and get up. Make it a montage with the 3 animations. So you have the falling animation there, then you have the stunned one, and you have the get up one. and you can use anim notifiers to signal when the player can have control back, or when they can have invincibility, whatever it may be. To create a anim notify area, you go to anim montage. Brick. It's all US dollars. It should say on there. So apologies if it doesn't, but it should say on there. Also, all that availability in that calendar it's auto adjusted to your time zone. FYI. Yeah. So for example, you have an anim notify section down here. And when you drag animations onto it, which we have, like for example, there. Okay, so you have the notify section down here. You can add your own notifiers. So you go into Blueprint class, all classes, and type in anim montage. No, not montage. Notify. You want notify state. There it is. So you want this notify state here. And if you're using montages, you can actually get away with using play montage notify window if you wanted to as well. So you select that and open this up. And in here you have override functions, and you want to do on begin, and you'll say you want to get the owner of the animation, of the mesh. Ooh. And it's get owner. This gets the actor that owns this component, so that owns the mesh. And then you cast to the first person character in this example, or whatever example you may want. And then from there you can then say disable input, for example, and you can or you can disable movement, or you make them invincible, or whatever. Once you set up your code here, you do have, by the way, a notify begin and notify end, so you put the end in as well to reset it all back. And the tick if you want something to happen on the tick, but most of the time you're doing begin and end. So once you've made it, you go to notify track here, go add notify state, and you'll find your notify state here. And you can drag it for as long as you want. So you put this in your stun part of your animation, and when it begins it, will make your character unable to be moved, and when they get up, it'll make them able to move. So that's how you would do that fractured visions. Okay, hope that helps you out there. Brett, thank you for the donation. Yes, you can ask a Niagara question, yes. Vlad, how would you split screen be done and co-op button presses for doors? So do you mean like two players pushing two buttons simultaneously to open a door? That shouldn't be too difficult. It's just two switches, like normal switches you normally would do for a door. But the door, you need to make it require both. You've got here, I don't know if I've got enough time to go through it all. It'll be a quick way of showing it. So for example, you'd have a switch blueprint that would have like a boolean saying is pressed or is activated, whatever, if the player's standing on it, for example, or has interacted with it. And then your door will look at, you assign two keys to it, basically two switches to it. If you know my door stuff, you'll know I've done like you do link into buttons and link into buttons and switches. So once you've done that, you'd do a check to see if both are triggered. Or you could use an event dispatcher and then check if both are triggered by that. It's quite a bit to go through all in this. In this session, but maybe it's something I can add later on, possibly. How do you add Xbox One control? Xbox One control, do you mean the controller? If you do, it's the same as anything else. You just go into here, into the project settings, go to inputs, and when you go to add action mappings and things like that, you can see it all here. You click on plus, And so Xbox One and PS4 and PS5 and Xbox Series X and so forth will use gamepad settings here, but you also find specific ones for that console. So in Xbox One here, you've got a few extra buttons here that are unique to Xbox One. Same with the PS4, you've got like touchpad buttons and things like that. So anything specific like that you'll find in those sections there, but ultimately they use the same gamepad settings for generic gamepad controls. So use these. Close that. Funny Let's Play, could you do a grappling hook tutorial? It is coming soon. I've got it. I haven't filmed it yet, but yes, it's coming soon. To at least Patreon anyway. It'll be part of a Let's Create. It's basically remaking the Doom Eternal grappling hook. Harris Faisal. Hi Ryan, what are your thoughts on someone to make a game alone, doing all the modelling and scripting himself without using C++? Secondly, what are your biggest obstacles to this process using UE4? Okay, so a couple of things there. First of all, the biggest problem you're going to have is scope. When you're doing everything yourself, it means a lot more work. So make sure you're designing a game that is very, very simple, very, very small, and doable by your own skill set. You can make a game on your own. That's totally okay. Loads of people have done that. But you'll notice that the games that people have made on their own are usually quite small in scope, with a few rare exceptions. But that's where you should be looking at, is trying to make it small and play to your strengths. If you're not good at art, then don't make it based around art and being realistic graphics or anything like that. If you're not good at programming but good at art, make it look pretty, but make it very simple. Play to your strengths, and you should be okay. But yes, it's totally doable. Brett, you made a cool cold weather breath steam in FX in Niagara. How to make it only happen every couple of seconds, like every breath? Drawing a curve over time for spawn rate didn't work. Okay. So let's make something quickly do that. So I'm making a new Niagara system. Do an empty one. And in here we'll add a very basic thing in here. So what have we got in here we can use? Omnidirectional burst. We'll use that. Okay, so you got this bursting happening. Okay, now you notice this one is doing what you're asking, where it is spawning and then giving a little gap in between. So what you'll find in there is if you go to emitter state, you can change the lifecycle mode, change it from system to self, so you can control the individual emitter. And then in there you've got loop behavior. Change that to once, not forever or infinite. You want it once. And then the loop duration, you can put up whatever you want. So if your particle spawn is set to die after 1 second or 2.5 seconds, whatever, if you make your emitter state loop duration longer than that, you'll have a gap between each one. So loop duration here, if I change this to like 5, it will spawn 1 and stop, because this is a burst. Okay, if you're doing like a Steam thing that is constantly going, let's turn that off and put a different one in. That is a constant stream fountain. That's one, isn't it? Yeah. So, oh god. So likewise in here you've got a loop behavior infinite. If you change that to once, and then we change it to 2 seconds, you can see how it will stop. Yeah. Initialized particle, you can see the 1.4, 1.75. So it's a little bit longer, so you do get a little bit of a gap there. But they'll loop through once. So it means it will spawn 90 of them before it stops the loop. So that is how you'd accomplish that, Brett. You just make sure you change the length of the loop here to be longer than the lifetime of the particles, and make it so it spawns a certain number of them. So yeah, the spawn rate is 90 per loop, essentially. So it'll play that and stop. Hopefully that helps you out there, Brett. And thank you for the donation. Cold breath tutorials. Yeah, it could be first. I mean, it's not really, actually not that difficult. We could probably make it right now, actually. Yeah, in fact, let's just do it. It'd be really simple. So in here, we're going to add emitter, do a empty one. And in the sprite renderer, we'll use the steam or smoke one that I already have. I'm not going to make a whole new texture for this. Sub UV. And when you've got sub UV, it means it's got like frames, like a sprite sheet. And in there, you change the sub UVs here from 1, 1 to 8, 8. Because it's got 8 in a row and 8 in a column. No, 8 column, 8 rows. Because it's 64 in total. And then we take the particle update here and do sub UV animation. And linear end frame 63, that's all good. We'll leave it like that. Then we want to add movement to it, so that'd be velocity. And we'll add velocity and we'll fix it to solve forces and velocity. And we'll put X of, I don't know, 5. And then on emitter update, we'll do the spawn rate. And we'll do, I don't know, 30. What's that look like? And we have to change their lifespan as well. So lifetime of 0.5. Okay. Oh, we have to take it to not loop. Hold on. So you go to emitter state and do self and change it from infinite to once. Loop duration, we'll leave it as 5. And they should disappear. Is it too many, maybe? 5 of those? Also, the colour. We need to add the colour. And we'll do that as a curve. And it should fade out, which it is. Why is it doing that? Maybe 30 is too 5 too much, not too little. Oh, I missed. Fixed loop duration. Loop delay 5. Maybe that's what I was missing. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, increase the spawn rate. So sorry, Brett, it's the loop delay you want to add, not the loop duration. Spawn rate here, turn it to 10. And color, I'll change the alpha actually to be starting off at a lot lower, 0.3. You get that. It should fade better than that. What have I done wrong? It spawned for a little bit. Bu- 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 bu. Why did it spawn only 10? I'll have to come back to that one in a second. I think there, Brett. We've got the gap happening, but it should not be doing that. Yeah, fountain did it. Let's have a look at the fountain again. What have I missed? Meta state complete infinite 2. Change it at once. I'll come back to that one later, but I want to make sure I answer for more people's questions. Maybe we'll make a video on it. But there you go. Right, hang on, I'm missing a load of questions. So Vlad, how do you get 2-player split screen? If I remember rightly, you go into project settings, and it's in, I think, maps and modes. Yeah, there you go. So use split screen, 2-player split screen, blah 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 blah. And then you plug in. I think you just plug in a second controller, and it should do it. Yeah. I think you plug in a second controller, and then you go to multiplayer and do 2 players. I think that's right. No, that's not right. Not probably missing something. Hold on, let me look at the documentation of it. Commando Jake, sorry. Have you considered moving over to UE5? You can literally copy and paste all your UE4 projects, and it's a selling point of the engine. It starts where I want it, but it doesn't rotate. Oh, you're talking to something else. I will go over to UE5 properly when we're closer to more release. At the moment, UE5 is still very early. There's still a lot of stuff to be done to it. It's not. The problem with using UE5 for anything big is that if something goes wrong, it's hard to know if it's your code that's wrong or the engine wrong. So it's best to not rely on it too much right now. But we will be doing some videos on UE5. We've done one. We're going to do more in time. It's been a very busy time at the moment. And then as we get closer to UE5's release, then yeah, we'll do the full switch over. Yeah, let me find a split screen documentation. Not useful. I'll have to look into that, how you can actually test it. I haven't really done split screen on UE4. I know you just got that setting, but I guess you just plug in 2 controllers, push play, and it should pick them back up. I don't know. I'll look into that. How to activate a PS4 controller. You should be able just to plug it straight in, I think. I haven't tested it with a PS4 controller, but I assume you can plug it straight in. Next RTS tutorial video when? So they're released weekly. We're up to episode 16, 17, I think, on Patreon. So we've got a few more to go. Obviously, yeah, it's going to be quite a big series. So be aware of that. Oh yeah. Okay, I've just seen what you have to do for split screen. I think if I go into our game mode here. And on begin play, we'll do player. You want create player? Right? Yeah, create player. And you put in the controller ID that they have. So if you've got multiple controllers plugged in, you can specify which one. Otherwise, -1 will pick the next available one. Yeah, spawn player controller. That's correct. So if I hit compile and then push play, I think that will spawn. Yeah, there you go. So now I've got 2 players, and if I go into the other screen, I can control this one. Oh no, I can't swap. Oh, I need another controller plugged in. I don't have enough USB ports. But there you go. You plug in a USB port, your 2 controllers, and it should work just fine. I've only got the keyboard. But yeah, there you go. So it's just create player. There you go. Let's see who else we got. Brett Canny, is it better to have one material for an entire character, or should each article of clothing have its own material? So you can do it with multiple. You can obviously do multiple things like that, no problem. But what's best? It depends on what you're trying to do. If you are changing clothing all the time, then obviously each clothing will need their own material. Or if you're changing their skin at all, anything like that, yeah, it'll have its own material. But you could use if you're not doing anything like switching stuff like that, I would recommend just using one material. Ideally with one texture, where you have like all the textures you need on one texture. It's called an atlas map, and you have that all there, and you can just drag and drop it. Not drag and drop. You can control where the UVs are. The benefit of that is it's only one draw call because it's from one texture file, rather than loads of different materials to do it. So it is more efficient to use one material, one texture, if you can do it. You are limited though, obviously, when you do that, if you put it all on one material, by resolution, because you can only fit so much detail into one texture. So keep in mind that you do have that limitation. Can we use actors as maps? Oh, sorry, this is from Cena Big A. Hey there, I was wondering, can we use actors as maps and blueprints for the level map? Or the level blueprints are important? So the level blueprints are for the sort of events that happen inside the level. So a good example of this is such as like a Call of Duty level. When you're going through the level and you go through a door, it will spawn enemies in. That code would be handled on the level blueprint because it's an event that happens in the level. The level dictates that situation. Or you blow up a tanker and it knocks down a whole entire building, doing loads of stuff. That will be happening on the level blueprint. Okay, so stuff like that is triggered specifically for the level that you're in, is where that would go on the level blueprint. You can also add your own actors to it, but the only reason you do that is if it's something that's more common that you can use over and over and over and over again. But if it's specific to that level, put it on the level blueprint as a single action event. The level blueprint is meant to be like a reactionary thing, not something you can keep track of stuff and doing various things. How can you make animated textures? There's a few ways to do that. So for example, you've got the panner node. There's multiple ways. So on here, for example, if you've got a texture in there, let's put like a water, like that, and put that in there, like that. Okay, so we've got a water texture here. If you want it to animate, you can put a panner into the UVs of it, and a panner will move the UV coordinates around. And you can make it move it over a certain speed. So you put in a speed here. Now UV coordinates go between 0 and 1 normally, 0 to 1. So you'd pan it. So if you type in 1, it'll move the whole thing along 1 in 1 second. So this number will be quite small if you want to go quite slow. So 0.01 is quite good for this. And you'll see it move and animate going around. And I mean, there's loads of ways of doing this. You can do, make it a bit faster than that. Let's do 0.1. So panner is the most common use for this. However, you can do various things like sine waves and use that to handle stuff like this too. So if I wanted to do like stuff going back and forth, I could probably use a sine wave to handle the speed of this. So you put in the time value input, because a sine wave is like this, and the horizontal of it is time. Okay, so over 1 second, a sine wave will go up to 1, down to -1, and back up again. No, sine wave will go up to 1, down to -1, and back to 0. Sorry. So you got time, and you put it into a sine wave, and so you get values between 1 and -1. Our speed here we want to be 0.1, so I'll take this and multiply this by 0.1. And plug that into speed, which will be a vector. So you do append vector, because speed is x and y. You want two things going to here. So I'm going to plug that into there, and this will be 0. So now we should see it go like that. A bit too fast. Hold on. Time, we need to slow it down a lot. So I'll multiply that by 0.1. Put that in there. Might have to make it slower. Or is that multiplied by a large number? I can't remember. Is it 10 or minus 0.1? I thought it was 0.1. I think it's 0.1, but what's going on with this? 0.1. Sine wave multiplied by 0.1. Append that to 0. Speed. If I leave that as 0 there. It should just do this. Which I think it is, but it's doing too much. So 0.1, so it's going from minus 0.1 to 0.1. So it's hard to tell with this texture. If I clamp, no, let's slow it down even further. Let's see if we can make it slower so I can actually see what the hell's going on. Do it by another 10. Why is it not changing speed? What? Oh, it is going. Oh, there you go. So and it go back the other way. This multiplier is not working well. I don't know why. 0.01. So there you go. Goes along, and then it'll stop. Oh wait, maybe I have to multiply this by. If I put in just one there, what does that do? I just want it to do that. No. But you can see how different ways you can do this. So sine wave can control that motion. Although I don't know why it's doing that far. It should not. To clamp this value. Why is it doing it? I understand 0.01. It'd take longer to get to the end of it. But if I times that by 1, it's going to go too fast. Oh. So yeah. The period of the sine wave, you could do, but the period you usually want to try and keep it to 1 because that's the one loop like that. If you change it to 0.5, you just get that motion. So it goes up to 1 and it's back to 0. Don't get the other way round. So it'll go forwards and stop. But yeah. So yeah, it won't go back the other way. It'll just stop. Wait, what? What's that doing? Some funky math business. Why the hell would that do that? Maybe I misremember what period does, but I thought period was just clamping its length. Or maybe it just squishes it down. It must just squish it down to 0.5, so it's half as fast. Okay, but anyway, you can mess about with it and experiment with it, but that's typically how you make animated textures with the panel node, doing stuff like that. You can also change the coordinate system, so if you've got like different coordinates, so rather than doing 0 and 1, you've got something in 1, 2, you can use that to control that too. Anyway, I just saw one question. I forgot what it was. Where was it? VedSX. Hi Ryan, is there any way to make the cable have collision? I tried by setting its collision to block all, but nothing happened. So cable, I'm guessing you're talking about the cable class or component. So this thing is typically used only for visual things. It's not going to do anything actually special with it. You can have collision on it, but what you'll find is that this thing doesn't have any collision stuff on it, like meshes. So what you need to do is give it a Like you don't, yeah, you wouldn't. I don't know what you're trying to do with it, but you typically wouldn't do like heavy collision stuff with it. It's mostly used for just physics and visual appearances and things like that. Ooh. So like if I simulate this and then click on, yeah, you're not going to get any collision on it necessarily, because the mesh itself that's used doesn't have a collision mesh around it. But if you tick enable collision on it, you do get some sort of stuff going on it. But again, it's more for visual stuff. You're not going to get anything special with it. I'll probably detach the end. Because you will get like weird stretching issues like this. It's not the best thing to use for this sort of thing. If you're using it if you want to use something cable like for like actual gameplay purposes, you're better off having a skeletal mesh with bones in it, and then setting a physics asset with it. That's the way I've done it in the past for stuff that I wanted to use as a gameplay thing. But I'd say this is more for like visual things to make it look like cables and stuff like that, not necessarily for gameplay purposes. Because you do get some weird jankiness with it. It's not perfect. So be wary of using this for stuff like that. You can do, but let's say you just get very simple basic issues like this. It just gets caught and stuff. If I turn collision off, the friction down, you still get that stretchy weird stuff. So yeah, think of it as more of a visual thing rather than an actual gameplay thing. Because then you can set that like that, hit K, stop, and it should have kept the shape of it. Do that. Am I still in? Can't tell now. It's not saving the end. I probably have to tick the attach end thing. But anyway, is there a way to make an in-game cutscene and the camera changes back to the player? Yes, I got a video on it. Check it out. It's called the level cutscenes. I do it exactly that on that video there. Yeah. Is it normal to get a small hitch when streaming in a level while playing editor? It happens even when loading a completely empty level. Yeah, you always get some slight hitch. That's why we usually hide it in games with like a corridor, so you don't see the load. So you want to usually hide the load of that somewhere, somehow, either with a fade or with a corridor or something like that. How can you do a simple tracking fireball projectile from Commando Jake? So let's say this projectile here is now going to be homing. So on the projectile, what you want to do is make sure it has no where was it? Yeah, homing. So you tick the homing projectile. You set the acceleration of it. Make sure you don't have initial speed or max speed acceleration. So when it spawns, it's solely just using homing stuff on it. I've done it in another video before, I think. But so I mean, for example, if I put 0 here, 0 there, and on the spawn of this, we'll get random. No, we get actors of class. And we'll choose Q. No, It's not an actor, is it? Let's make a target for us. Actor. And give that a sphere. And we'll make this very simply just do a new blueprint as a target. So on there, we'll get the first one it finds. And you want to take the projectile component out, and then you set homing target component and plug that in. And then you want to get the component of the reactor that you want to attack. So here could be the root. Get default scene root. Plug that in there. And that's it. So you just drag this into the world. Over here, for example. Did I actually put any speed on the projectile? Set at 0. Homing. Okay, so do this. Do 500. I can't remember what the number needs to be. Oh, not simulate. Stop. So a bit slower, I think. Hold on. Let's do 10. I don't know. We'll see. Oh wait, velocity is too high. That's why. So velocity here, we'll set it down to just 1. And that should be a little bit better. No, a bit faster. Let's change that to 500. Match the speed of the homing. No. Wait a minute, what am I doing wrong? I think it must be that is equal to 1, and then you do... Is it this one you set to 2000? Cannot remember. Something like this. No, it's still too far. We'll get it right eventually. Hold on. It's turning to it, but I can't get the speed right. I swear you didn't have that on for some reason. You turned one of them down. It's either this one or that velocity. I cannot remember which one. Try this again. No, there is. What way is it? Right. Oh, do you want to do that? Change that to 3000 and change that velocity then to 1500. It's one of those. I swear it was. Ooh. Yeah, see, it's constantly bouncing towards it. There you go. So yeah, if I turn, I think you turn this one up and then you turn this one down to get more like accurate turning on it. So if I turn it down to like 500. That's it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. There you go. But yeah, there you go. Yeah, you can also turn the gravity off if you want to turn gravity off. If you want to turn the bounce off, you can turn the bounce off. So like again, we'll show that example. Turn the bounce off. Turn gravity off to 0. And what you get is just pure like tracking to the target. Um, yeah, so you can get pure, just go straight to that. No matter which way you aim your gun. Hello Ryan, have you tried an experiment with UE5? I have. Yes, I even did a live stream on it. Titanium. Hello Ryan, long time no see. I followed your ship targeting live stream from a while back, and it was really helpful. I want to know how to toggle on and off the widget components on the enemy ships. You can just toggle their visibility. I don't know. It depends on when you want them to toggle off and on. Everything's cause and effect. So if you've got something that is going to do something like turn off widgets, you need to know what the effect is. So if you want the effect to be you're not looking at them anymore, or you've gone too far away from them. So the cause be you're going too far away from them or not looking at them anymore. You want to make it so you just get the component, the widget component, and turn its visibility off and on. Yeah. Mert Candur, hi Ryan, can you make a tutorial of a true first-person shooter with proper animations and not jiggly? If someone gave me the animations, sure. I'm not an animator. I do not make good animations. But if someone gave me them, I'll happily do it. Hi Ryan, how would I add icon to bar when item picked up and disappear when used? That's a lot more. That's a lot more I can show right now. And a lot more specific. So if you want an icon to appear, you need. I don't know. It depends what you're trying to do. So the item should have the icon on it. I mean, if you follow my inventory system, it covers that sort of stuff in there. Same with the shopping system as well. I think it has that in there too. Check it out. I've got it in multiple places. You can see how to do that. Yeah. Press the button twice because it would be toggled off. How to make a loading screen with loading bar that is related to level loading. Tark, if you want to do a loading screen with a natural level loading bar, you need to go into C++ and look at memory management, and go through that whole thing there. There's no way to do it from blueprints or an easy way of doing it. You have to look at the memory and how well it's doing with the loading of all that stuff. As far as I'm aware, there's no way of looking at that stuff. So sorry, there's no easy way of doing that. Not that I can easily show right now, anyway. What's time? Okay, we've got a few more moments left. Is there a way? Hi Ryan, this is from Bartasus. Hi Ryan, is there a way to create a material layers dynamically? I mean, having one material and adding layers in runtime. Yeah. Should be able to. It should be able to. I don't have time to go through and test it out now, but I don't see why you shouldn't be able to. You should be able to get hold of I would imagine if you get a mesh and get the material from the mesh like this. If I look at the material stuff, I would imagine you could somehow get materials. Let's get the first one. No. I'd imagine you would be able to. I don't have time to go through it now, but I would imagine you could, but I don't know for certain. Commando Jake, I'm a modeler and 3D artist. Was wondering why the AI freezes the game when spawned in after hitting the level trigger. Freezes the game. Shouldn't do. Unless your computer's not powerful enough and it struggles to load in new assets. You shouldn't have any issue with that. I don't understand. Must be something else going on there. Or you've got somewhere you got like a little loop in there that is taking it to, like, if you're hitting a level trigger and you're checking it multiple times in a single tick, maybe. I don't know. I would have to look at how you've done your level trigger spawning. So a common issue people have with level triggers of any kind. Say you got this big box, okay, you're sending something through the box. They'll do a trigger to check, okay, if this thing is inside this box, do X, Y, Z things. But the thing is, that thing is still traveling through that box through every single tick. So therefore, it's going to trigger the event multiple times. So that could be the issue. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It would depend on how you set that up, but it shouldn't do. That's all I can really say. What it'd be interesting to try then, Commando Jake, is to test whether it's a rendering issue or a memory issue. If it's so, what I would recommend you do is try and spawn it off site, off the camera, so you can't see it. So it spawns occluded, and see if you still get a little freeze every time. Then that will help narrow down the issue. If it spawns in and it freezes only when you're looking at it, it's a rendering issue, so it must be something wrong or unoptimized about the material or the textures or the model, possibly. Ice 555, nice glasses. Are they new? I like them. I've had them for quite a while now. I have, because I work on computers all the time. I have quite bad eyesight because I'm typically working in bad light. So I got a minor astigmatism in my left eye, I think it is. So I get extreme headaches otherwise. So I wear them, and I had a headache earlier while I was doing some stuff. So I put them on. I'm very bad at remembering to put them on. I should have them on every time I'm on the computer, but I am terrible. I'm looking forward to seeing what you're working on, Brett. And if you want to hit me up for 1-to-1, you know what to do. Just email me. When it's off camera, it's a small freeze. Okay. Is it a smaller freeze, is it? I take it. By the way you're wording, I'm guessing that's what it is. Cinebig, a question about world compositions. Can we rotate them with blueprints? Also, subfolders are important for maps. Is there a way that we can use blueprints to place 2 maps in a level with rotation? No, you cannot rotate the world composition maps. As far as I'm aware, you can't. No. And world compositions, by the way, is going away in UE5. Heads up with that one. They've replaced it with something a bit more smarter. Golden Pixie. Hi, I'm using a dialogue tree from your tutorial. Can I can decrease some coins with each line, but I want to stop the dialogue when the money is low, then be able to continue when I get enough coins again. Stop the dialogue. Do you mean like cancel it out completely? If you're trying to cancel it completely, if you're using my behavior tree method, if you go into here and you've got a task, for example, and you've got the execute AI thing, and let's say you haven't got enough coins, if you want the dialogue to stop at the point of the conversation, either here or in the tick, whatever you want to do, tick AI, make sure you're using the AI version. What you do, you then say check the coin, blah blah blah, and then you take the controller reference, the owner controller, get brain component, and then tell it to stop logic. and that will tell it to stop the behavior tree. It'll stop running it. If you want to start it back up again, you have to implement the run behavior tree again. But stop logic will tell it to stop right there and then. So on here somehow you would have the number of the coins, I'm guessing you're using, whatever it is. You check if that's below 0 or equal to 0, and then you put it into stop logic. Hopefully you can get to this point, Golden Pixie. How you start from exact same place. Oh. So you leave the conversation, you go back to the conversation, it takes you back to the exact same spot. I think in that case you can't use the method I showed in my videos. Your idea is quite bespoke and unique, so I don't think you could do it with this method of using a behavior tree. Oh, pardon me. No, you'll need something a bit more custom made, I think. Unfortunately, sorry. Icefire. I haven't looked through all your videos, but do you have a tutorial on true first-person camera? I was playing around with the idea, but routing the camera to a bone is nauseating. It is, but yep. I was able to set the camera location to the bone location on tick and use the third-person camera rotation, but there is some glitchiness when moving left and right due to rotation. What do you mean by true first-person camera? Do you want it first-person view in a third-person character? Do you mean that you can look down and see the legs? Is that what you're trying to say? Let me know, Icefire. Commander Jake, how do we change characters? I have a UI screen for it, but I haven't set it to do anything but change pictures or go to gameplay. So Icefire, I've got a video on that. Just look at it's a how-to. It's very short, very easy, and you can go through it. Literally, no problem. I released it like earlier this year. Just check out my thing. You'll see it there. So how to change the character. So when you are spawning in, you want to do like when you click on a menu screen, you'd have to, when you click on the like the portrait of what character you want to use, you're saving that choice to the save game file. So when you load up the next map, behind the load screen, you get the player character and you change the mesh on the player character. If you're changing it completely to a different character entirely because they've got different abilities and things like that, then you on game mode is where's my game mode? Oh, I'm on it. God's sake. On begin play here, behind the load screen again, because you want to hide all this from the player. You read the save game file, get the reference to the object, the class reference to the object that you want to spawn as, and when your player logs in, what's it called? Hold on, there's an event for this. Not here, sorry. An event game. It's post login, I think. I think it's this one. So this gives you the player controller. When you do this, you refer to the oh yeah, there you go, Icefire. Yeah, login. Yeah, so you get the save game file, and on the player and you spawn the character in, and on the new player controller, you tell it to possess that character with the possess code. But yeah, do it like this because this fires every time a player joins a game. Point and demonstrate. Hit play. Hello. Okay. So have the reference to the class in your save file. When you begin play, you spawn actor of class. Okay. By the way, the default for this will have no character pawn. It sets to none. They don't get anything spawned. You spawn it in manually, and then you store the reference to it, and then on post login you get the player controller, and then you possess the reference you've got. Hope that makes sense, Commander Jake. I can't obviously test it because I don't have a menu system where I can choose which character I want to choose from. But this is how you do that. I could probably come up with a quick way of doing it. No, I can't because I've only got one character. But that's the logic. That's how you get by that. Commander Jake. Or Commando Jake. Okay, one or two more questions left. So racing is fun. Racing's fun. Say you die and want to spawn in a friendly NPC location. What is the best way to get the closest NPC vector upon death? Get all actors by class near you and send it to the game mode. Yep, basically it. Get all the actors of class, measure the distance, and find the shortest one. If you want to know how to find the closest one, I've got a video describing how to make a function that will do that. Can an actor handle a lot of mesh and particles? Or do I need to make more than one actor, then group them? Yeah, you can handle as many as you want. Actors are just a collection of the components. So if you made one actor with 5 components, with 50 components, or 10 actors with 5 components, it's the same. So whatever works best, keep it on. I would recommend keeping it on one actor. If it makes sense to be on one actor, make it on one actor. Okay. And I think we're going to take and call it a night. So thank you very much for everyone's questions for tonight. There will be no question time next week because it's my wife's birthday. So I won't be online that day. But I will be online a week after. Not a week after that, but a week after that because I'm on vacation as well. I'll put messages up and things like that, but you'll see. There will be a live stream this Saturday, so join me this Saturday for a live stream. Thanks very much, everyone, for joining me, and thank you to all the patrons again as well for their continued support and funding me being able to do this. So thank you so much. As for content coming out, there is content still coming out, obviously as per usual. I will apologise to Patreon members as well about the June video poll. I know which one it is to make. I'll be making it soon. June's been a very, very busy month for me in my other job, so I'm wrapping that up now and should be able to record that soon. So bear with me, that one will be coming out, and that's the attack combos and how to do that. But nonetheless, what's coming out on Patreon this coming week or so? The RTS series continues. There's more bot AI stuff. There is the new equipment system. So if you don't know, there's a brand new equipment system series coming out on Patreon with 2 episodes in, many more to come. And the continuation of online multiplayer, setting up like lobbies and how to join multiple multiplayer games, things like that. That's all happening over on Patreon as well. So thank you to everyone there support, and I will be seeing you all very, very soon on Saturday. Thanks again, everyone, and have a good night and get some sleep. Bye, everyone.